The birth of football. Picture England in the 1860s. No Premier League, no sponsorships, and no screaming pundits on TV. Just a few groups of men trying to figure out whether you were allowed to punch the ball or not. Out of that chaos came order. The Football Association, established in 1863, set the first real rules. The result? Modern football was born. This was the age of the 2-3-5 formation, 5 attackers charging forward like a cavalry unit. Defending was more of a polite suggestion. The footballs were heavy, the boots were thick, and referees looked like they belonged in a courtroom. But even in its rough early form, the passion was already there. Clubs like Preston North End, Aston Villa, and Sheffield United led the way. Meanwhile, the sport started spreading beyond England's borders to Europe and South America. The 1930 World Cup in Uruguay marked football's coming of age as a global event. Back then, VAR didn't exist. The only review system was yelling at the referee until he changed his mind. It worked about as often as it does now. The Golden Age, when football became art. The 1930s to 50s saw the rise of international icons like Puskás, Di Stefano, and the young Pelé. Countries developed their own styles, Brazil with flair, Hungary with invention, and Italy with organization. Football wasn't just a pastime anymore, it was identity, pride, and national emotion rolled into 90 minutes. The 1950 World Cup in Brazil saw one of the sport's greatest shocks, Uruguay defeating Brazil in front of nearly 200,000 fans. Meanwhile, club football grew stronger. Real Madrid began assembling what would become their legendary dynasty. Tactics evolved from all-out attack to more structured approaches. Players started understanding the game beyond instinct. Of course, there was no social media then, so if you missed a goal, your only option was to hope someone painted it for you later. The modernization era. Tactical revolutions. Now football starts to think. The 1960s to 80s were a laboratory of tactical innovation. 2 systems define the age: Total Football from the Netherlands and Catenaccio from Italy. Total Football, perfected by Johan Cruyff and Ajax, said every player could do everything. Defenders attacked, attackers defended, and everyone had a philosophy. Meanwhile, Italy doubled down on structure, precision, and defense. A masterclass in shutting things down. This era also saw global broadcast expansion. For the first time, fans around the world could watch live matches. Players like Beckenbauer, Maradona, and Cruyff became household names. The World Cups of 1970 and 1986 delivered moments we still talk about today. Training methods advanced too. Players became faster, stronger, and more tactical. Managers became thinkers, not just motivators. Basically, football evolved from rock music into jazz, structured chaos with a lot more style and way better haircuts. The commercial global era. The 1990s blew the doors open. Football became a business. The Premier League launched in 1992, broadcasting rights exploded, and suddenly your favorite striker was also selling shampoo. The UEFA Champions League rebrand turned midweek football into a global spectacle. This was the age of Zidane, Ronaldo Nazario, Ronaldinho, and Beckham. Skill, charisma, and sponsorships rolled into one. Clubs became global brands with fans from London to Lagos to Los Angeles. The tactics were modernized, but the marketing, revolutionary. Science entered the dressing room. Nutrition, sports psychology, and technology began shaping performance. The pace of play increased, the athletes improved, and football became entertainment on a massive scale. If footballers in the 1930s played for glory, footballers in the 2000s played for glory and a 6-figure boot deal. The Messi-Ronaldo era. The era of the GOATs. From 2008 to 2022, 2 men redefined football, Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. Different styles, same obsession with greatness. Messi the artist, painting football with every touch. Ronaldo the machine, sculpted from pure discipline and ambition. Between them, countless goals, dozens of trophies, and an entire generation of debates. This was also the analytics age, where data, fitness, and precision coaching reached new heights. Clubs invested in player science like never before. Every week felt like a headline duel. Messi's dribbles versus Ronaldo's headers, Barca versus Real, La Liga versus the world. And in between, new stars rose, Neymar, Iniesta, Modric, but the conversation always circled back to the big 2. The internet was basically split into 2 religions, Team Messi and Team Ronaldo, and peace talks have yet to succeed. The new generation, post-GOAT era. The torch has been passed. The post-GOAT era is led by a new generation, Mbappe, Haaland, Bellingham, Vinicius Jr. They play faster, think quicker, and live under the microscope of social media and advanced analytics. Football now runs on numbers, video replays, and global influence. Technology defines this age: VAR, smart tracking, and AI scouting. Clubs use data models to find players and perfect tactics, but it's not just the men's game anymore. Women's football has exploded, drawing massive crowds and recognition worldwide. Tactically, pressing and transitions dominate. Managers like Guardiola, Klopp, and Ancelotti mix art and analytics. The game is faster, cleaner, and more unpredictable than ever. Modern football is so advanced that in a few years, your fantasy team might get coached by AI and still finish below your friend's team. From muddy pitches to billion-dollar stadiums, football's eras tell one continuous story: the evolution of passion, creativity, and community. Each era left its fingerprint: the courage to organize, the joy of flair, the genius of tactics, the explosion of business, the greatness of icons, and the rise of a digital future. But through every change, one thing never fades: that feeling when the ball hits the net and you forget everything. No matter the era, one rule remains: football fans will always think they could manage the team better. And maybe that's part of the magic. If you enjoyed this journey through football's history, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Which era do you think was the best? And remember, football may change, but the love for it, that's eternal.